yourself in one of your Sims in Sim City. You just go down there and you're like, okay, here's what's going on. And then pop back out. And then they kill him. That's the best part. It's like and so the book of John, I just looked this up because I'm writing about it, but the book of John is Matthew, Mark, Luke, synoptic gospels. They have the same stories in the most. John, not synoptic, and has all this weird shit in it. And not that any of the other stuff isn't weird, but particularly weird stuff in it. And so those three gospels, they have within them something that I've always struggled with understanding the logic, which is to be cleansed by the blood of Jesus. Sacrifice the God, child, drink his blood, sins cleansed. Whereas Book of John, it has less of a focus on that or the redemption through the crucifixion, and more saying the crucifixion itself was the ultimate, because it was the collision between light and darkness, where light, instead of getting aggro, fighting back, just prayed for the people killing it and died. And dude, you're not gonna sleep at night if you're crucifying somebody who's praying for you, who's looking at you and loves you, not in a fake bullshit spiritual way, but loves you, knows you, has known you forever, and loves you, and truly forgives you. Oh, dude, that fucks the whole game up. It ruins darkness. It's the ultimate atom bomb in the face of power. Yeah, go ahead and kill me. Dude, it's really cool. So, regardless, the book of Revelations and all of that stuff, I think it clearly emanates from an expanded consciousness, if nothing else.
Do you think there really wasn't Jesus?
Well, I think, I read that controversial book by Reza Aslan about Jesus. It's pretty good. It's called, Jamie, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of it. It's so dumb, man. I can remember what books say, but I can't remember their titles. But yeah, he says apparently there are references to Zealot. And it's controversial. I know some people don't like it, but I enjoyed it. But it says apparently there are references to a Jesus, but never described as Messiah, but as a magician who was going around healing people and stuff. So there is some reference to the being, but I get so bored with the attempt to find the historic Jesus, because I think it really misses the point altogether. I think you get so caught up in trying to find the Grail or whatever, that you lose track of, regardless of the truth of this being walking the earth. Does it change the substance of the parable and their referencing of some realm, a transcendent realm, a possibility outside the suffering of the mundane world, outside of sucking emperor dicks so you can get a little bit of power? There's something in any person's life. You can just wake up and see it. Kingdom of heaven, gnosis. So to me, I don't care if just a lot of smart people who are trying to convey an ancient cosmology created a character to embody that. Because I don't think to me, that's not the point. I know for a lot of Christians it is, and I don't mean to offend y'all. It's just, I'm sure any Christian out there, if you're not wrestling with the Bible anyway, you should wrestle with it. It's meant to train you and get in your head and grab you and confuse you, and then it's an amazing work. It really is. The New Testament, all of it.
Wasn't one of the controversial aspects of when Martin Luther translated it? When they translated it into phonetic language, so that they didn't have to go back to read the Bible.
Yeah.
And one of the more controversial things is he was I think he was expressing something very similar to that you're really supposed to get out of it what you get out of it. It's open to your interpretation.
Yeah. I think it loses all its power if it requires an actual flesh being. And I get why people want that. Yeah. I understand the argument, but to me, written within it is the communion, for example, right? Jesus never said, here's how we were gonna do communion, he did like say something really quite beautiful about, which is like exactly like maybe the sweetest thing you can say to your friend if you're dying, which is when you eat good food, remember me. And when you drink wine, I'm gonna be in that wine. Oh my God, that's so sweet. It's so beautiful, and it's like such an invitation for everybody. Anyone, you can all eat. I'm in your bread. I'm in like the life force itself, to the point where you can connect with me just through basic like dietary. I love that. It's beautiful. Like, it's such a great way of fucking up the middleman, the priest class, the hierarchical bullshit. It's like, no, I'm here. I'm completely with you right now. Just you gotta reach out. And so whoever wrote that, I think that's what they were saying. It's like you're kind of in a weird part of the multiverse where it's easy to forget there's a lot more going on than what you think is going on there. And it's easy to fall prey to all the tricks of that place, because it's a tricky place that wants you to worship. And you don't have to do that. Like, that's beautiful. I don't care whoever wrote it, or the people who wrote it, or whatever the true story is. It's gonna be a mystery forever. But
yeah, but it's such a fascinating mystery.
It is.
I wish I could read the Dead Sea Scrolls.
God, I know.
Because that's the oldest one. That's the oldest version of the biblical stories.
I'm pretty sure, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I imagine there's fragments and stuff that, like...
It's so fragmented that they had to use DNA to determine whether or not the scrolls were from the same cow. So, like, when you would find pieces of animal flesh that were from cows, and you would put that in this pile.
God damn, dude. That would have been a fun archaeological work. Oh.
Awesome. Like, trying to piece that puzzle together and try to figure out how old is the Dead Sea Scrolls? Like 4,000 years old or something?
Dude, I don't know. I have no idea.
See how old the Dead Sea Scrolls are. I know they found them in They found them in clay pots. 3rd century BC.
Yeah, man. I mean, then like when you get into like the Torah, Hebrew, when you get into like a lot of the stuff Jesus was referencing, and you realize, like, not only is it like powerful writing with like incredible parables in it about like ways society collapses, or families collapse, or a life collapses. It also is like mathematical, like that I can't remember the name of it. There's a whole thing where you, like, the number, I know we've talked about this, God and nature, same number. Like,
God and love is
that. So,
yeah,
what the fuck?
It's ancient. Their numbers double as letters.
Yeah, and then you see there's an intentionality to that patterning.
Yeah.
And so then you realize, like, oh, so like on top of telling these powerful stories, they figured out a way to encode within the powerful stories more information that only people are going to find if they dig deeper. That's designed to be there for you if you want it, but you've got to want it. You got to dig in.
Human things like that, language too complicated. Let's abandon it.
I'm learning that shit.
They abandoned it. Think about how complicated. Ancient Hebrew.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Also uncovered was a 6,000-year-old skeleton of a partially mummified child in a 10,500-year-old basket, which Israeli authorities said could be the oldest in the world. A CT scan revealed the child's age was between 6 and 12, with the skin, tendons, and even hair partially preserved.
I've never heard that.
Wow.
It's like 8,000 BC-ish, or even 8,500 BC when this basket was made.
Wait, what is can we read that? Among the recovered texts, which are still all in Greek, is Nahum 1:5-6, which says, the mountains quake because of him, and the hills melt. The earth heaves and foam. The world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his wrath? Who can resist his fury? His anger pours out like fire, and rocks are shattered because of him. Fuck. I mean, that's nature.
It's hold up. It says the authority said these words differ slightly from other Bible versions, showing a rare light on how biblical text changed over time from its earliest form. The Dead Sea Scrolls have a lot of really weird stuff.
Like what?
Well, you know, the Christian stuff, the John Mark from the Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. That's all his interpretation. I'm sure you would have to be a scholar to understand even what the fuck they're saying. But he's essentially saying that you can trace back the word Christ to an ancient Sumerian word that means a mushroom covered in God's semen. And he thinks that when God orgasmed on earth, things would blossom from it. This is like the way ancient people used to think of the land. They used to literally think God was coming, and then when those mushrooms would just appear out of the grass, which, you know, mushrooms grow really quickly. You know that.
Yeah.
So when people would wake up in the morning and see these mushrooms after the rain, and they'd eat them and trip their fucking balls off.
Yeah.
John Marco Allegro believed that this was the source of the original Christianity.
Wow.
That it was about psychedelic rituals, it was about fertility cults. Yeah, it was about people trying to duplicate, trying to have children.
I mean,
you
that's
know,
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh god, that would have been so fun to trip back then. Like, it's from God's jizz. Eat it.
Breaks. Doctors.
Yeah, there's some drawbacks.
Oh, there's a lot of drawbacks.
Some drawbacks.
No penicillin, no antibiotics, no vitamins, no grocery stores,
No hand washing.
no hand washing, no knowledge of what's going on with bacteria.
They probably wash their hands. I mean,
Killing fish.
I'm sure there's shit we're not doing right now
I'm sure.
as a species that we should be doing. Like something where in the future they're like, they didn't tap their pineal glands every month.
They
What?
found out there was one hack.
Yeah, just one hack that makes you live longer. But yeah, man, I think if you explore the psychedelic universe as an existing place that has its own consciousness, its own mind, and is interested in spreading itself into like little bubbles of like, I don't know, parts of the universe that have forgotten about it. Because that's the thing, we get amnesia of it here. Everyone's amnesic to that reality. It exploring, like, you know, the idea that sometimes it wants to send a letter here. It tries to break through, not just with Jesus, but with any, like, what we call a Messiah or a prophet. It's like a separating us from eternity and paradise. And these leaps appear in the form of people saying these things that run counter to power structures. And almost immediately, the leak is sealed, crucified, or whatever, and then whatever they were saying, it's co-opted. And suddenly a hierarchy appears between the things. So now you've got a priest class in Christianity. There's an entire hierarchical system to Christianity. And that's fascinating to me, because like the thing that my understanding of it is like, you don't really need a priest class. Like, you don't need you and me. Like, you and me. You get to hang out together without anybody telling you, actually, that's not the real truth. Your mind is broken. Here's
What
the
brings
truth.
us back to cults.
Yeah.
When one person is the person who decides,
Yeah.
makes the rules.
The translations.
Yeah, and they dress like the Pope.
They dress.
They dress like the Pope.
There's so many costumes for it.
Yeah.
Like, but generally, if you see someone wearing a costume and it's not Halloween, you know, or you're not at like a convention, you better watch the fuck out, especially if the person wearing a costume is telling you that they are such an authority on this subject or that you can't even fucking question it. That your questioning itself is offensive. Now, you gotta watch out, because if that's happening, you could be in a cult. Like, if someone's telling that to you, if they're like, we don't even ask that question.
Yeah.
You better watch the fuck out, because that once people start doing that,
Yeah.
you know, they shut down. Then now they're shutting down the joy. Or the joy that comes from turning on the light in the darkness. You know, like the joy of when someone comes to you confused, truly confused, and you give them like real data that can change their lives. You know what I mean? Now you're ruining that possibility. Not to mention you're telling people not to trust their rational, like the essence of who they are. It could be off. Ooh. Watch out, man. You won't cost
Yeah. It's just wild that it works. Police uniforms. You know,
Well, it's easy.
cops how to just wear guns and like a badge around their neck with regular clothes.
That would be a disaster because like so many, like at least now if you want to like impersonate a cop, you gotta like go to a costume shop. You know what I mean? Now anybody can be like, I'm a cop.
Isn't that crazy though? Like they have an outfit. They wear an outfit.
Yes, with a star. Some
Yeah.
with a like a special star that imbues power. I mean, this is credentialing, right? Like this is like once you have gone to university for a certain amount of time, gotten deeply into debt to the banks, you are given a credential or like a license, right, to practice whatever the particular thing is that you went to school for. But you like essentially have like given the banks all this fucking money to get a magic star on your certificate where people know, okay, this person is the real deal. And that is really like fascinating, man. That you know, when I go to a doctor, I want to see some fucking certificates on the wall. But I never in my life going to a doctor like remembered the certificates and gone home. Did you really go to that university? Never.
Well, they have caught people doing that, pretending to be doctors. It's leasing office space, setting up fake things on the wall.
Dude, I saw whole forensic files about it. Like I think a guy did surgery.
Oh my god.
Like I think a guy was like had his hands in people's guts, who tricked him into thinking he was a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And it's like, just think about it. Like if it's like people are printing money, I think people aren't printing certificates for themselves of this school. Or that just knowing in general people are lazy. No one's gonna look this up. And if they do, I'll just change my phone number. If they don't, I'm a fucking doctor. I'm a doctor in a hospital.
Someone's been these weird people pretending to be somebody. It's such a strange thing because it's just like an exercise in how well you can just keep pretending. You know, because you gotta pretend for a long time. You gotta tell people stories about where you're at school, what hospitals you've worked at. Yeah.
It's camoed. It's like, it's just like any other predator, man. It just figures out how to like blend in or turn into its prey, and then boom, you're in there. Look, why are we veering into this paranoid land? It's like so scary to think about that, but I guess you're supposed to. I guess it's important to like recognize that aspect of things where you get fucked over, usually.
You have to be aware that some people are just full of shit. You have to be aware that some people are just, they're sociopaths. They don't have the same sort of emotional connection to others. And what they're doing is they're trying to play a game. I'm going to be a doctor. Who says I'm not a doctor?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk like a doctor. I'm going to listen to doctors on YouTube and the way they describe certain procedures. I think I could do those procedures. Just pliers on someone's tooth. Pulling it out of their head.
Just lying.
I'm a dentist.
I'm a dentist.
How hard can it be to be a dentist?
Can't be that hard.
It's just teeth.
How hard would it be? You just put some putty.
Doctors are drilling into your teeth.
Yeah.
The nurse doesn't know. She thinks she's a doctor.
Yeah, man.
She's just a nurse. She got hired.
Yeah.
Or the dental assistant. They don't even, right? What is just an assistant with rubber gloves on. Just someone who works there.
Yeah, dude. Like, what the fuck? It's like, again, you just have to, like, you realize, like, if all you have to do is put on a costume and you know, maybe not everybody, but